In this video, I will show you how to design the keychain in Silhouette. I have the designer edition. I have my image. I'm going to come over here to text and I'm going to write my name. Make that larger. Bring it over. Now I'll be working with this side. I'm gonna make my name white. I'm gonna select a font and I'm gonna use Beauty Mountains. And so there are cut lines in each of these letters, which we do not want, because if you cut it, it's gonna jack your name up and we don't want that. So select the whole thing, come over here to your modify panel, the square with the circle. I'm gonna click weld. Now the HONN is all together, but the S is separate, so I'm gonna move my S over slightly. And then I'm gonna select the whole name again and hit weld. And now it's all together. Okay, I can do everything on this side. Don't need that matte. Okay, so we have our name and the image. I want to do my keychain of 4 by 3, 3 by 4. I want my height to be 4 inches and my width to be 3 inches. I'm going to select my whole image, right click. I don't know how she got there. Delete her. Select my whole image, right click, and I'm going to group. Now I want to come over here to my transform panel and I want to choose scale. And I'm going to go to my width and hit 3. And I'm going to go to my height and hit 4, enter. Now she's the size that I want her. Now I'm going to ungroup. Do not resize this image because this will be the image for your keychain. You can do yours any size that you want, but mine's I want a 4 by 3. So now I am going to, let's see, do I want to trace her right now? Okay, so I'm going to give her a trace. And here is the reason why. For this image, you may not have to do it for your image, depend on how it was designed. But you see how her outline is. You see the shape of her body, but watch if I change her to a different color. She'll just be a black box. So if I was to try to do an offset around her, this is the offset that I will get. I will get a square instead of the shape of her body. So I'm gonna go back. And then I want to trace. It's the 5th icon down. Trace panel. Gonna select trace. It's gonna go to solid field, and I want the whole thing to be yellow. So I'm just gonna go to the threshold and I'm gonna type in 100 and trace. I'm going to remove her, and all of these little dots in here I do not want. I only want this one piece that's between her legs. So I'm going to select my image and release compound path. This is how you're able to take pieces out of an image. So all of those little squares are cuts. I don't want, when I do a print and cut, I don't want all of these pieces to cut out. I only want that piece at the bottom. So I need to take out everything else. right click, delete, and they're very small. And the way to know if you got everything out, you just keep going back over your whole image, and wherever those squares pop up, you know you still have those pieces in the inside. So now I have all of the pieces that I want removed, and I kept that little spot right there. I'm gonna trace over my whole image, right click, and make compound path. And now everything is back together again. I'm gonna take this and I'm going to make it white. Going to put this back. And so now I want to make my keyhole, the rings for the keyhole, keychain hole. I'm gonna go to my drawing tools, select a circle. You can select whichever shape you would like. I'm gonna make a circle. Go back up here to this arrow to bring my cursor back. If not, you will be making circles everywhere. So I'm gonna select my circle, right click, duplicate, and I'm gonna come from the corner square, come in, just make it slightly smaller so you can put it in the middle, select my whole image, and then I want to align it center. Now I want to select my whole image. I'm going to give it a color. Let's make it white. Select my whole image. And now I'm going to go to my modify panel and I'm going to hit subtract all, and we have made a ring. You can delete this. Take this, size it down to whatever size you would like yours to be. And so I'm going to show you a way where you don't have to keep doing this. So just select it, duplicate, and make a lot of these, unless you just want to keep making these over and over again every time you make a keychain, because you really can just keep them and change it to whatever color you want. So I'm just going to take one out. I'm going to take these, group them, and move them out the way. Okay, so now I want to make, let's see, okay. So this ring is going to go on your offset. It's not going to go on your image right now. So this is just for your offset. So I'm going to select my whole image, right click, and I'm going to group. It's one piece. Okay, so I'm going to select my image. I'm going to come over here to my offset. That's the star. And I'm going to select offset. I'm going to select apply. And there's the offset. I do not want to leave these two pieces in there. I'm going to leave that one. You really don't have to leave anything on your offset. It just makes an extra cut when you leave those pieces in. So I'm going to take these three pieces out. I'm going to select my image, right click, release compound path, and I want to take these 3 out. Select all of those and delete. Select my image again. This always does this to me. And then I'm going to make compound path. And there you have the whole thing again. This is your offset. So I'm going to make this. Let's see. Now I can bring in my ring. Set it on the top. I'm going to select my whole image. And then the modify panel. Weld. And now your ring is, the hole is connected to the offset. Let's change this color to black. The way to put this on top, it keeps going behind. Select your image, right click and bring to front. Okay, she's in the back. Select her, right click, bring to front. And there you have made your keychain. So to prepare her for a print to cut, we're going to trace her one more time. Let's group this and just move this out the way. Well, no, we don't have to trace her again. Yes, we do. Okay, let's just group this, move it out the way. So we're going to trace her one more time, go over those steps. Select, go to your trace panel, select trace. Gonna do the exact same thing. It's gonna go to solid fill. Gonna select 100, enter, trace. Going to remove her, and we're gonna take those pieces out again. Release compound path. I'm only gonna leave that one down there. Uh-oh, that wasn't good. Okay, so I selected my whole image, right click, make compound path. And then I'm going to sit her right back in there. Okay. And then I'm going to group. Bring this back. Send her in there. And now we can separate everything, ungroup it. These will be your different cuts. This is going to be your print and cut, and these are going to go on your cardstock. Now let's set up our print and cut. Okay, you're going to go to your page. Page setup. Gonna click on the registration marks. We're gonna select type 1, and that's gonna turn your registration marks on. You want to have her in between your registration marks. Okay, we'll go back to page setup. I want to know registration marks. Okay, there we go. Page size. I'm going to cut on an 8.5 by 11 portrait. Doesn't matter if the cutting mat is on right now. And then down here, I don't know if you guys can see it, if you can see my cursor, print bleed. We don't want the print bleed to be on because we want to get a precise cut as much as possible. So I'm turning on the print bleed right now so you can see this number. It's at 0.050. I want to bring that down to 0, and then I'm going to hit print bleed again to turn it off. So I have my paper in here. I'm just going to duplicate and make 2 just in case something happens to one. So your trace is around it, so when we send it over, now once you place these on your mat, on your paper to print, do not move these, because wherever it comes out at on your paper, that's how your Cameo is going to read it. If you print it out and then you move it over here and then you send it to your Cameo, this image was first here, so the Cameo is going to try to cut in this spot, but after you printed your paper, you moved it here. So have them set wherever you're gonna wherever you want to cut them, and don't touch it after that. Okay, so now I can go to my let's see. I'm going to go to my print. Let me plug it in. I'm using a Epson 7710. This is my sublimation printer. Usually people print these out on copy paper using their inkjet printer, but I use my sublimation printer on sublimation paper. Do not use your sublimation printer on regular copy paper and try to do this, because your images are going to look very dull, but they're going to come out bright if you use sub paper. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to go to my preferences, and I'm going to use 8.5 by 11. Really, my paper is 8.5 by 14, but I'm going to need to trick the Cameo to make sure, because it's not going to cut 14 inches down, because the Cameo only reads 12 by 12 on the mat. So I'm going to put 8.5 by 11 premium presentation matte paper. My quality is on high. More options. My high speed is off. Usually when you come into this this page, high speed is going to be checked. So if yours is checked, check it off. And all that means is that you're giving your printer enough time to let the ink saturate into the paper. If you print it out at high speed, it's going to come out fast and it's going to look kind of dull. So I turn my high speed off and everything is okay. Okay, see if I have any paper. All right, so everything is set and I'm going to go ahead and print. All right, so here is my print and cut. There are my registration marks. Now this paper is really at 8.5 by 14, but I told my printer that it was at 8.5 by 11. So therefore it put my registration marks at 11 inches instead of down to 14. So if you, it is possible to do this on bigger paper. Okay, I'm going to set this up on my mat and we'll be at the silhouette. Okay, so now we are going, remember, do not move anything on this page. We're going to go straight over to send. So we're over at our send panel. And for materials, it's on copy paper medium. My blade is at 2, speed 10, force 15 with 1 pass. So I'm going to load my mat. And then on my laptop, I'm going to go to send, and let's just hope this cuts. This is going to take 22 seconds to cut. Your silhouette will tell you the time for your cuts. Okay, let's see. Unload. Ta-da! So that is how you do your print and cut. And I will not be wasting this paper because what I'm going to do is put it in my printer upside down so it can print things on this side. Okay. So now to cut out your cardstock pieces. We're going to remove them. We have them already. And then we can go to registration marks and turn those off. And now we just have our mat. we are going to put our mat size. Put your size on automatic cameo. And make sure that your cutting mat is turned on. And so now we can do our cuts. Remember your cardstock, whatever color you do them, if you want to do an offset, if you don't, if this is totally up to you, how many layers you want. Okay, so gonna duplicate. Usually it takes about maybe 6. You don't want it too thick or too thin. You can cut out however many you want, however thick you want your keychain to be. Duplicate. Duplicate. And I'm going to show you how you can save, well, how you can utilize as much space as you can and save material. So this green dot up here is how you rotate your image. So sometimes you may want to cut something, but you're running out of room. Just flip your images around. So that was just to show you that, but we won't focus on that in this video. Let's just cut. Okay, and these are going to be separate because my name is not connected to the image. So of course, because you see the space there. Okay, come over to send. Now our settings will change. For material, I am using plain cardstock. My blade is set to 3. My speed is at 4. Force at 20, and it's going to give it 1 pass. So now I'm going to send it to my cameo. I already have my cardstock loaded. I'm going to pull this out. And I'm going to hit. Are they all in there? Always double check. And send. This is going to take 4 minutes and 25 seconds, so I'll be back when it's done. All right, it's done.
What's mine?
Unload. And there they are. I'm going to remove these so we can start on the offset. All right, so let's go back to design and we can remove these. You can just delete everything. I'm going to ungroup this one because I want to cut out my name again because I'm going to use a different color. Ungroup. I can delete that. We already have those. So I'm going to cut out my name maybe twice. I always like an extra one. Duplicate. And then, here we go. I'm going to duplicate. Now, the back of glitter cardstock, my offset is going to be a glitter cardstock. The back of glitter cardstock is white. So I don't want it to look white on the back. I want it to be glitter. So in order to achieve that, you need to flip one of your images. One of your cuts is going to be flipped horizontally. Just one. Or you can do two. It doesn't matter. I do one so my backing can be glitter. And I'm going to duplicate, duplicate, and duplicate. I know that my glitter cardstock is ripped a little bit, so I don't want it to cut in that area. That's why I'm rearranging it. Okay, we should be good. And now I'm going to go to my send. Okay, so my material is going to be glitter cardstock. My blade is at a 6, my speed is 3, my force is 33, and it's going to do 2 passes. And it is finished. Here are my cutouts. And so here I have my print and cut. I have my cutouts. I have my offset, and this was that back piece I was talking about. See, it's white. You don't want that white on the back, so you reverse one in order to have it like this. And then I have my name, and for the name I usually use just, well, not usually because I only made one, but I would use maybe 2. But you can use as many as you want. And then I have my glitter to go on top of my name. So let's set this up. Okay, you have your offset. That would go on top. Print and cut, go on top. And then your name. Or it can be in black. Doesn't matter. I don't have enough time on this recording to put it together, but what you would do is you would Mod Podge each piece, stack, stack, stack. I would do that in a separate video until you have them all together. So I use Mod Podge. And make sure you stack them neatly. And then I don't use epoxy. I bought Bright Tone. This is Crystalac. This is non-toxic, no fumes, no yellowing, and this is not harmful. So I don't down anybody that use epoxy, but this is safe right here. So another video, I will put this together, but this was to show you how to do this on your silhouette. All right.